Hey guys, it's Chris Hernandez from Used Combat Photography. Wanted to show you something that I just got, which I am super geeked out about. It's an awesome camera that I've been wanting for a while. Now, those of you who've watched all of my videos, like all 7 of my fans, I do it all for you. You might remember that my first video was about this Japanese Kanishi Roku Type 99 aerial photography camera from World War II. This was in the Japanese 653rd Air Group, which pretty interesting history. And I figured out a way with that camera to use individual 4x5 sheets. So I have been wanting essentially the American version of that camera, the handheld camera, not electrically operated, one that I could potentially make work using single 4x5 sheets, and I finally got one. That camera is the K20 aerial photography camera. Okay, these were originally, I believe they were designed by Fairchild, but Graflex also made them. This one is a Folmer Graflex version. I got this for a screaming deal off Facebook Marketplace. I'm telling you guys, search Facebook Marketplace for some amazing deals. And let me tell you the basics on this camera. Okay, so this camera, it has a 163 millimeter f4x5 lens. You notice how small that lens is. So some other aerial photography cameras have big lenses. For example, this is the Aero Ektar 178mm f2.5. This is a very highly prized portrait lens. I use it on one of my speed graphics, and I've taken beautiful portraits with it. This is a big, heavy radioactive lens. This one is not. Okay, this entire thing lifts out. It's a one-piece shutter and lens assembly. It lifts out, and it's about that thick. It's like a big cookie. It goes from f2.5 to f22, and the shutter speeds are 1/125th to 1/500th. So 1/125th, 1/250th, and 1/500th. That's all you got. Okay, these are focused, I believe, from 15 feet to infinity. There is no external focusing mechanism for it. You only have a window and peep sight to compose your image. So you look through that, and I'm going to show you how it operates. Okay, these things take what essentially it's like a big ass roll of 120. This right here, this was in the camera when I bought it. I didn't know it had a roll of film in it. I opened up the back, said, oh crap, there's this roll of film in it. It's about halfway through. The camera was completely frozen up. I couldn't do anything with it, and eventually I figured, screw it. This camera was sold as surplus apparently after the war, and then resold by the Air Photo Supply Corporation in New York City. The fresh roll of film that came in the case was from 1964, so I figured the roll that's in it cannot be from World War II. It's probably just some commercial photography or something, so I decided to just sacrifice the roll so I could figure out how to use the camera. So what I found out, this roll of film, it is 5 3/4 inch long, or wide, sorry, and 20 feet long, and it produced 50 4x5 images spaced about ½ an inch apart. Okay, so to load the camera, you've got this screw over here. You unscrew that, and this gigantic cover slides off, and now you can see the workings of the film transport assembly and the vacuum piston. I'll explain that in a minute. So what you do, it's the top spool. As you're operating the camera, the top is the one that's the take-up spool. So you put in your top spool, you put your film down here at the bottom. It's kind of feeds like backwards of the way you might think. Okay, so you have to pull this film leader out, feed it on the film plane, comes up the other side, and then goes to take-up spool. However, the cone on this camera is so wide that the leader, because it curves, will go straight into the cone, and you won't be able to thread your film correctly. So these cameras came with a film threading plate. So you stick that in where into the film plane, then you take that leader and you stick that in there past the film threading plate. It's coming out the top now. Okay, now I can pull out the film threading. Plate, get it out of the way. And now it's just the same thing. You've got your film advance knob right here. That turns your take-up spool. You get the slot in the take-up spool in the right place. Get that film in there, start tightening it up. Make sure you're holding tension on it until it bites and it's taken up correctly. And now, okay, now I've got the film threaded in there correctly. Okay, so now I would have to cycle through this several times to get past the leader to get to the actual film. So I'll just go ahead and use the Film Advance to do that. And here you're about to see where the film starts. There it is. All right. So now I've got the film in the right position. Okay. So once I have the film in the right position, here's your film counter. You would manually change it back to 1 and bam, just ready to go. Okay, it counts down to 50. To cock the shutter, you move this lever forward and then pull it back toward you. The shutter is now cocked. Okay, and then you just pull this trigger. Okay, and that's what fires the shutter. Interesting thing is that this camera has a vacuum piston. So the vacuum piston, when you cock the shutter, and here I think I can show you. Well, maybe I can't. I'll take this out and I'll explain it to you. So the vacuum piston pushes the film, when you cock the camera, it actually pushes the film downward. Okay, it pushes the film downward, and then when you fire it, when you pull the trigger, first the vacuum piston pops up and it sucks the film back into the correct position on the film plane, then the shutter fires. Okay, so it's a complex system. It's because the film had to be in the exact perfect position to get the sharpest images possible, because remember, they're taking, you know, pictures from 10,000 feet or however high up, looking for camouflage gun positions, bunkers, you know, enemy fortifications, all that stuff. So they had to be able to get the sharpest possible enlargement. So you have to have the film in the exact perfect position. And so that's what the suction system did. But something that I found out looking at manuals before I got this is that if you cycle this camera without film in it, or without something like the film threading plate in the way of that suction, if there's nothing to damp the suction system, the shutter and the suction system the vacuum system will get out of sync. So this camera the shutter is not firing correctly every time. Sometimes it locks open completely, sometimes it locks open partially, sometimes when you're cocking it, it opens and then closes. It only functions correctly about twice out of every 10 cycles. Okay, so I think, like when I got it, I knew don't cycle it without any film in the film plane, but maybe somebody else didn't know, and so they were screwing around with it and they messed it up inadvertently. Okay, I don't blame them for not knowing. Okay, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to go ahead and put this film threading plate in here, and I'm going to show you. You should be able to see. Okay, right there. Okay, you can see how that is. You can see the space. When you cock the shutter, the piston, that circular thing right there, the piston just pushed down, and it's holding the film in position. And when I fire, what's going to happen is that vacuum piston is going to pop up and it's going to suck the film back up against the film plane. Now, right now there's no film in there, it's just a film threading plate, but you should be able to see it pop up. See that? Okay, when it came up, it would have sucked the film back up against the plate. Okay, so because it's out of sync, well, now every time I do this, you know, I can't count on the shutter to operate correctly. So like I fire it now, it locks open. Fire it now, locked open, completely open, completely open, completely open. Well, typically, okay, this is not good. So typically, by this time, I have gotten where it's going to cycle correctly. There, okay. Took me longer than I expected. That sound it just made, it made a particular sound. I know that the next time it fires, it's going to cycle correctly. Okay, I've cycled through this so many times now. I know whenever it makes this certain sound and it feels a certain way when I'm cocking it, it's going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of film sheets in film holders, stick them in a dark bag, stick this whole camera in the dark bag, open up the back cover in the dark bag, pull out one of those film sheets, and I am going to manually put it in there in the film plane. Okay, now there's something else to worry about here. The film, ordinarily it would take a horizontal photo like this, okay? Now if I put it in there horizontally, because this cone is so big, it's possible for this film sheet to fall into the cone. So if I turn it vertically though, it shouldn't. Okay, so let me take that out. So if I take this in the dark bag, make sure that the emulsion side is facing away, facing the proper direction, put it in there, make sure it doesn't fall out of the bottom. Okay, right now I've got the 4x5 film sheet vertically across the film plane, and when I cock it, now it just locked down. Looking at it right here, I can see that the film sheet did not fall into the cone. It is in the right place. I can actually see the top of it. Anyway, okay, right now it's locked in there, and when I take the picture, I know it's going to cycle correctly this time. Bam, it just fired correctly, and now it should not be stuck in the cone. It should fall out freely. Bam, it fell out freely. Okay, theoretically, I will be able to take a picture with this camera with a 4x5 film sheet, and then take it out in the dark bag and fire 4 of them, put it in my Stearman press tank that holds 4 sheets, develop them, and see what happens. Something else later on that I might try, this is really cool. This is one of the accessories that came with this kit. See, it's a translucent, kind of faded, I'm sure. It's a translucent piece of plastic up there at the top. You can actually take a pencil and write information. Like if you know, if one of these guys was going to take a picture of an enemy airfield, for example, they would write on there that, enemy airfield, Guadalcanal, whatever, and they would then take that thing, that accessory which you wrote on, and they would stick it into a slot in the bottom of the camera. Okay, right down here at the bottom of the camera. They would stick that in there. Okay, it goes up into the bottom of the film plane, and when you take the picture, it puts that imprint, whatever you have written, onto your film negative. Okay, so as soon as you get it developed, it says on there exactly what it is you're looking at. So really cool thing. Okay, if this thing works, just trying to get an image, then I'll experiment with this next. But anyway, crap, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, this is a super badass, awesome camera. I am excited to use it. I am, maybe I kind of feel like doing this sort of brings me back closer to Granddad, who was a gunner on a Catalina and on blimps going up and down the East Coast in the Navy during World War II. Maybe a little closer to my Uncle Leo, who was a B-17 mechanic and was killed fighting in the Philippines, actually after the Bataan Death March. But I want to bring this piece of history back to life, and wish me luck, guys. This weekend, I'm going to put some film through this and see what happens. So I'll show you in the second half of the video how it went. Thanks. Hey guys, you might be wondering why I'm wearing this awesome, for real bomber jacket from World War II and this awesome, for real World War II flight helmet. And that's because, as of this past weekend, I am an official K20 aerial photographer, K20 aerial camera photographer. I implemented my plan to shoot individual 4x5 sheets, and it worked. So here are, I only shot 2, but here's one of a street. I'll show you the raw scan. This is a scan of the of the film sheet right after I took it out and dried it off. You'll notice that it's canted because right now I don't have a way yet to keep it straight inside the film plane. Here is the edited. So where I've straightened it, corrected it, I've worked on the contrast a little bit. And here is the better second shot. You'll notice that it's got these ovals across the top, and that's for that accessory I mentioned where you could write notes on there before you take the picture and it imprints it on the negative. So here is the raw scan, and here is the corrected, edited scan. Again, I straightened it up, added some contrast. Pretty friggin' cool pictures, I think. So one thing that I have learned, what I'm going to do for the next time is I'm going to make some kind of a paper bracket or something that I can put the film sheet in with maybe some rubber bands that will go around from the film plane, come around back here and hold that film sheet in place so I can shoot it in the proper horizontal orientation and not have to worry about it moving. It's going to be a slow process. I did talk to somebody who said he develops rolls as long as 6 feet at a time, and I can take my the fresh film that I have that came with this, I can cut it into 6 foot sections. If I can get this to cycle correctly, then I can take 6 feet worth of pictures and send it to him and he can develop it. So that's an option, but I'm probably for the time being going to have to just stick with one sheet at a time after making something that will keep those film sheets in place. So anyway, I am like super stoked. This it worked. I am very happy with the results of how the camera performed still. I mean, I may be the first person to use this camera since the 60s, in the last 60 years, and it still functions, not perfectly, but it still works. It's still worth using. Capturing a little bit of history here, maybe reliving a little bit of history using this. And I'm stoked. So now I gotta go on and find the next cool thing and the next cool camera, bring that back to life too. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions for me, please let me know. I'm an eternal amateur. I'm always here. I'm always learning. So I am happy to hear anything or answer any questions that I can. So until next time, I'm Chris Hernandez from Hughes Combat Photography. You all go out and take some cool pictures.